Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nak and we're about to go over the practice exam number 1, and your exam will look just like this, and all I did was just change the numbers around. And also I am not very good at making videos, so bear with me please. Okay, so let's go with number 1. Determine if the relation is a function. Explain your answer. Y to the 4th equals to x. Alright, so let's talk about what y to the 4th equals to x. Okay, now if you try to solve for y, what you're going to have to do is take the 4th root on both sides. So if I do that, remember, since it's the eventh root, you're going to have a plus or minus 4th root of x, which gives us what? Y equals positive and negative 4th root of x. Now notice that y is not just one function of x. We have two functions, which is positive 4th root of x and negative 4th root of x. So that tells you that it is not going to be a function. Okay, so because it means that we get two outputs corresponding to the same input value. Okay, so let me just write that out because I need to explain myself. So I'm going to say which means that we get two outputs corresponding to the same input. Okay, so function? No, it is not a function. And also another way to think of it is this: if you know what the graph of 4th root of x plus or minus 4th root of x is going to look like, the positive side is going to look like this, and the negative side is going to look like that. So this part is y1 is positive 4th root of x. This is y2, negative 4th root of x. Now notice that vertical line test. Vertical line test determines whether it's going to, if the graph is going to define a function or not. But if I chop it here, it's going to intersect the graph on 2 points. So therefore, it fails the vertical line test. Okay, so that means that it is not a function. That's just another way to look at it. Okay, number 2, we're given the piecewise defined function. Let me just draw a cheesy little number line. And the function is going to be different at x equals to negative 4. So the top one, if x is strictly less than negative 4, so you'll be in this region right here. My function defined there is f of x equals negative 3 over 4x minus 2. That's an x, sorry. Okay, now for x is greater or equal to negative 4, which will be this part, including the negative 4, your f of x is going to be 2x plus 1. Okay, so now let's evaluate f of negative 6, f of negative 4, and f of 0. Now, let me just jot it down where the negative 6 is going to be. Negative 6 will be over here somewhere. When x equals to negative 4, that will be exactly right here. And then 0 should be over here somewhere. Okay, so keep that in mind. So when x is negative 6, the function defined there is the one on the left, which is negative 3 over 4. And I'm going to plug it in negative 6 in place of x, and then go minus 2. Okay, so that should give us what? Positive 9 over 2 minus 2. Get the common denominator. So I believe it's going to be 5 over 2. Okay, now f of negative 4. Okay, so when x is exactly equal to negative 4, your function defined there is 2x plus 1. So here you're going to have 2 times negative 4 plus 1, which is negative 8 plus 1, which is going to give us negative 7. All right, now f of 0, your function defined there is again 2x plus 1. So here you're going to have 2 times 0 plus 1. Oh, look how cute. This is going to equal to 1. Okay. All right, now let's try to sketch the graph of f of x. Label all relevant points. So I need to scale this somehow. So let me just make a little chart first. So for the values for x is strictly less than -4. I'm just gonna take maybe 2 points. So let's go with x, and then y is going to be -3/4x, and then -2. Okay. Well, starting point, I need to find a starting point, which is going to be at -4, although -4 will be excluded from this graph, but that will be just the starting point. So let me just check. All right, so when x is -4, y is going to be -3/4 times -4 minus 2. 4 and 4 is going to cancel, so here you're going to have what? +3 minus 2, which is going to be 1. So I need to plot -4, 1 somehow on the graph. And let's pick another one that's some value that's going to be less than -4. But notice that we have a 4 on the denominator. So if you don't want to deal with fractions, pick some nice number for x so that that number would be divisible by 4. So let me go -8 or something like that. So when x equals -8, what we're going to get is what? -3/4 times -8, and then -2. So that's going to give us what? 4 goes into 4 once, and then 8 twice. Both negative, so it's going to have what? -3 times -2 is +6 minus 2, which is going to give us 4. So we need to plot -8, 4 somehow on the graph. Okay, so now let's check out the other one. For x is greater or equal to 4. I'm going to do the same business. Your y is 2x plus 1. Starting point is again -4, so let's check what the y value is going to be. Okay, so then what? This is -8 plus 1, which is -7. So we need to plot -4, -7. And then let's pick another number. Maybe you could pick whatever number that you want to, as long as x value is going to be greater or equal to -4. And it's going to be a straight line. So how about maybe 2? Or I guess I could do 0 too, but oh well, I'm going to be challenging a little bit here. So you're going to have 2 times 2 plus 1. It's going to be 5, so we need to plot 2, 5 somehow. All right, I am not very good at graphing, but let me just take a look at this. Let me see, x is going to go all the way down to -8. And y value is all the way going to go up to 5 and a -7. Okay, I can do this. All right, so let me just draw a line. Is this going to work? Hopefully. Wait, hold on. This is going to give us enough room. So let me just draw the x-axis to be here. Boom, isn't that cool? And then y-axis, I'm not going to draw the y-axis yet. Let me just start jotting down the little grid here. So x is going to go how far again? -8. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's start out with maybe -8, -7, -6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. Sorry if this is drawn off the scale. 4. All right, I think that's good enough. All right, now for the y values, let me see. Y values needs to go up to 5, then down to -7. Okay. All right, we got this. So let me just draw the y-axis right here. Boom. Okay, and then let me see. All right, now let's plot. So I need to first plot -4, 1. So -4, 1. Oh, shoot, it's probably right here, but it's undefined there. So make sure to put an open circle. And then, by the way, this is not an open circle. That's just a 0, by the way. Sorry, it looks like an open circle on the y-axis, but it's not. And the next ordered pair we need to plot is -8, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put a 5 up in there already. -8, 4. So let me see. Maybe right here. Is that right? Negative 4 comma, oh sorry, negative 8 comma 4. All right, cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to connect these dots. All right, pretend this is straight. Is this going to draw me a straight line? Boom. Oh, that is so cool. And then make sure to put an arrow because line keeps going in infinite directions. Okay, so now let's take a look at the second function, which will be y equals 2x plus 1. So I need to plot negative 4 comma negative 7. All right, so let me see. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Oh no, negative 4. No, negative 5, negative 6. And I don't know if you can see this on your screen, but there is a recording button right below the negative 6, and if I hit it, it's going to stop recording. So pretend that there is a negative 7 on the bottom of this graphing paper. All right, but anyways, when x is negative 4, okay, y is going to be negative 7, so maybe it's over here somewhere. What do you think? Here? All right, and then when x is 2, y is 5, so is that right? Okay, so let me try to connect these dots. Let's connect it like this. Okay, let's see if this feature is gonna help me draw the straight line. All right, pretend this is a straight line. Here we go. Oh my gosh, is it? Whoa. Okay, so put an arrow like this, and here it is. Oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't put an arrow on this side because what? X is gonna start from negative 4, so that should be just a dot right here. Sorry about that. And this tail end, the top tail end should remain. So this one is gonna go this way for sure. So I put an arrow right here. I'm going to put an arrow on this side. Okay. Okay, so let's the next page. All right, so find the difference quotient, blah, right there. Simplify the answers all the way, show all of your work in organized manner. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this as a side work. So, side work. So let me just first try to compute f of a plus h. So this is going to equal to what? A plus h squared plus 3 times a plus h minus 4. Okay, so this means what? A plus h times a plus h. You need to FOIL. And then plus, let me distribute the 3 in. So you're going to have 3a plus 3h and then minus the 4. So if I FOIL this, I get what? A squared plus 1ah plus another 1ah. So you're going to have plus 2ah. And then the last term is going to be h squared. And then trail on plus 3a plus 3h and then minus 4. Okay. And then our f of a is just going to be what? A squared plus 3a minus 4. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this together in a difference quotient formula. So what we're going to get is f of a plus h minus f of a, whole thing divided by h. So this is going to equal to, let me see, a squared plus 2ah plus h squared plus 3a plus 3h and then minus 4. So that's our f of a plus h, and then I have minus f of a. So make sure to put a parenthesis around after the minus sign. So f of a is a squared plus 3a and then minus 4. And please don't forget this poor little h on the bottom. Here we go. Don't lose that h. Okay, so now let's distribute the negative sign and simplify. So you got a squared plus 2ah plus h squared plus 3a plus 3h minus 4. And then what? Minus a squared minus 3a and then plus 4. And whole entire thing all over h. Okay, So now you should be able to cancel a lot of terms after this stage. So let me see, what can I cancel? A squared, and then what else? 3a's, I could cancel that. And then 4's I could cancel. Oh, look at that. Now who's left over? So this is going to equal to what? 2ah plus h squared. Anybody left over on the top? Yep, plus 3h. Whole thing dividing by h. Okay, now I want you to simplify this all the way. So notice that I can factor the h out from the numerator. So then here you're going to have h times whole quantity 2a plus another h plus 3, whole thing dividing by h. So now I get to cancel all the h's, and our answer is going to be 2a plus h and then plus 3. So that's going to be the answer. Here you go. Okay. Now let's go with the number 4. Find the average rate of change on the interval 2, 2 plus h. So first you're going to have to memorize this formula. So let me just write this down. Average rate of change okay, make sure to memorize this. So this is going to be f evaluated at the end point of your interval. So it's going to be f of 2 plus h, and then minus f of the starting point, which is 2, whole thing dividing by the end point minus the beginning point. That's the formula. Okay, so now let's compute f of, I think we can do this in one shot. So let's first go with f of 2 plus h. So f of 2 plus h is going to give us what? 3 times 2 plus h plus 4, and minus f of 2, so make sure you put a parentheses around it. F of 2 is what? 3 times 2 plus 4. Sorry, there you go. Whole thing dividing by 2 plus h and then minus 2. I guess I could cancel out the 2 there, but oh well. Alright, next step. Let's simplify a little bit. So distribute the 3 in. So you're going to have what? 6 plus 3h plus 4, and then minus, alright, so what do we get here? You got 3 times 2, 6 plus 4, that's 10, and whole thing dividing by h, because 2 is going to cancel. Alright, so now let's combine this together. What do we got? The constant term, we have 6 plus 4, that's 10. 10 minus 10, that's 0. So who's left over is what? 3h over h. And cancel the h's. So our answer is just going to be 3. And here we have it. Moving right along. Alright, let's go with the number 5. Find the domain. Okay, write the answer in interval notation. Okay, so first of all, let me see. F of x, I can factor the f of x. Oops, why is that in red? Sorry. Erase. Alright, so let's see. The f of x, so numerator, the GCF is x. And then here I'm going to get what? X minus 9. Whole thing over. Now, x squared minus 81. That's a difference of 2 squares. So here you're going to have what? X plus 9. And then x minus 9. Okay. Yes, I know that we see x minus 9. You so want to cancel it, right? I so want to cancel it too. But to find the domain, you're not allowed to cancel anything. So you just look at it as is and find out when this expression is undefined. So first, that means what then? The bottom cannot be 0. So x plus 9 cannot be 0. Or x minus 9 cannot be 0. So that means what? X cannot equal to negative 9. And x cannot equal to 9. Okay. So if you're still uncertain about how to write an interval notation, I usually, oh my gosh, pretend that's a number line. Pretend that's straight. So here's your negative 9, and here's 9. So this functions define all the x values except for x at x equals to negative 9 and 9. So you're going to be shading the whole entire region except these 2 points. So here we go. Shade, shade, shade. shade, shade, shade. Now, the word where I shaded is where the function is defined. So that's where the domain is going to be. So this is going to start out with what? Negative infinity to negative 9, open, union, and then what? Negative 9 to 9, union, and then 9 to positive infinity. So that's going to be the answer. Please write your answer where it says answer. And there you have it. That's our answer right here. Okay, so now let's go with the part B. Okay, so first of all, notice that you're given square root. Now, square root, whoever sits inside of it has to be always greater or equal to 0. But be careful, this square root appears on the bottom, which is on the denominator, which means what? This expression cannot equal to 0 either. So with that said, the restriction is going to be this. 5 minus x better be strictly greater than 0. I don't know why I put the strictly greater than that big, but it's not greater or equal to. That's my point. Okay, so add x on both sides, and here you're going to have what? Plus x plus x. Then here you're going to have 5 is greater than x, which is same thing as x is what? Less than 5. Okay, so again, oh my gosh, the number line, here's my 5. X is strictly less than 5. So here is my open circle. X is strictly less, so I need to shade this part. So that means what then? My answer should be negative infinity to 5, 5 excluded. So that should be the answer. All right, number 6. For the pair of functions, find f of g of x. That is not f times g of x, by the way. And the domain of f of g of x in interval notation. So when you do this, you're going to have to be careful. So let's just first write down the definition. Again, why is it in red? Sorry. Let's go with black. Okay, so f of g of x, by definition, this is what? F of g of x. Okay, so which is same thing as what? F of g of x is square root of x minus 5. Okay, now stop right here for a minute. Now, the domain of f of g of x, it also depends on the domain of g of x as well. So let's take a look. Let's first look at the domain of g of x. All right, so the domain of g is what? The domain of square root of x minus 5. So what's the rule? Whoever sits inside of the radical, square root has to be greater or equal to 0. So that means the restriction is what? X minus 5 has to be greater or equal to 0. Add 5 on both sides, then what? X better be greater or equal to 5 no matter what. So keep that in mind, and let's just keep going. Now, f of square root of x minus 5, so this is going to be 2 over 25 minus square root of x minus 5, whole thing squared. All right, so which is going to give us what? 2 over 25 minus, make sure to put a parentheses here. So when you square the square root, what you're going to get is just the x minus 5 in this case. So then this is going to, let me see if I could squeeze it in here. This is 2 over 25 minus x and then plus 5. Sorry, my writing is getting worse. So this is going to equal to what? 2 over, let's see, 25 plus 5 is 30. 30 minus x. Let me just box that because this is our f of g of x. Now let's look at the domain of this, the final result. The domain of the final result is what? The bottom cannot be 0, so that means the restriction is what? 30 minus x cannot be 0. Add x on both sides, that implies that x cannot be 30. So what we need to do for the domain of f of g, we need to consider these two cases. Okay, so with that said, let me just draw out the number line according to the situation. So here's my number line. So x better be greater or equal to 5 no matter what. But x cannot be 30. So let me draw 5 here. So x better be greater or equal to 5. So all the way up to infinity. But x cannot be 30. So let me see. So pretend 30 is right here. But x cannot be 30. So you better have an open circle around here. So with that said, oh my gosh, it looks so ugly right now, this drawing. So with that said, let me just redraw this. Oh my gosh, why is that in blue? Sorry. Okay, so here it is. Here is the 30, and you have an open circle. And then you shade everywhere else. So with that said, let me see. Let's translate it. So the domain of f of g of x is going to be, sorry. Okay, so this is going to be what? From 5 to 30. 5 to 30, but 30 is excluded. And then union with 30 all the way to positive infinity. So that's the answer. And f of g of x is going to be 2 over 30 minus x. So I'm just going to box that so you can tell which is our answer. Here you go. Where did my number 4 go? What the heck just happened? Where did my number 4 go is the question. Hold on. Where is it blank? All right. This is, wait, this number 7. Did we just do number 6? Oh, that was just number 6, huh? Sorry. Okay, so we're going to go through number 7 now. Okay, I need help. Okay, so let's take a look. Given f of x and g of x, find f of g of x and g of f of x. Simplify your answer all the way. Okay, so let's take a look. Let me get the pen out. Okay, so let's first go with f of g of x. F of g of x. So this is going to be f of g of x. When I say it, it sounds exactly the same, huh? So this is what? F of, what the heck is my g of x? 2 over x minus 7. Okay, so this is going to equal to what? Negative 3 times 2 over x minus 7. And then plus 5. Okay, so that's same thing as what? Negative 6 over x minus 7 plus 5. Now I want you to simplify this all the way, meaning please put this in one fraction. So the common denominator is going to be x minus 7. So let me just write 6 and then x minus 7. So that means what? You need to multiply the 5 by x minus 7 over x minus 7. Okay, so here you're going to have plus 5 parentheses x minus 7 and then x minus 7. Now since we have the same denominator, we could combine the numerator. So here you're going to have negative 6 plus, I'm just going to go ahead and distribute the 5 in. So you're going to have 5x and then what? Minus, what is that, 35 over x minus 7. Okay, combining negative, that's a minus, sorry. Negative 6 and negative 35, what the heck is that? Negative 41? Negative 41 plus 5x, and then whole thing over x minus 7. Okay, so answer f of g of x is negative 41 plus 5x, whole thing over x minus 7. I'm just going to box that for the answer so you can tell which is the answer. Now let's go the other way around. Okay, so let me just, I really like this future. I'm just going to use this future. Okay, watch. Draw the line. It's going to go super straight. What? It didn't do it. Oh, well. Okay, so let's go to the other side. So let's go with g of f of x. Okay, so by definition, this is g of f of x, which is g of, what is my f of x? Negative 3x plus 5. So which is going to give us what? 2 over negative 3x plus 5 and then minus 7. So this is going to give us 2 over negative 3x, and then you have plus 5 minus 7, so I believe that's minus 2. Okay, well, that one was a lot easier. So g of f of x is going to be 2 over negative 3x and then minus 2. So I'm just going to box that answer. Alright, moving right along. Now let's go with number 8. Express the function h of x, to be that, as a composition of two functions f and g, where h of x better be f of g of x. So here's one way to think about it. Look at the big picture, right? Big picture of h of x. Now look at it. H of x is what? Fourth root of something, right? So what's going to happen is this. Your first f, because they want you to find f of g of x. So first f is going to be the big picture, which will be the fourth root. So I'm going to write it as let f of x to be fourth root of x. And then your g of x is whoever sits inside of that fourth root. So that will be, in this case, what? X plus 9 whole thing over 3x minus 1. So let's just check for fun, right? Just for fun. So let's check. I'll check over here. F of g of x is going to be what? F of x plus 9 over 3x minus 1. So which is going to give us what? Fourth root of, oh my goodness, pretend that's a fourth root, x plus 9 whole thing over 3x minus 1. So it checks. So here is f of x, and here is our g of x. Okay, so let's go with number 9. The graph of function is given. Part A, find all local max and min, values of the function, and the value of x at which each occurs. Now, please note that that is local max and local min are the y values. These are going to be the y values. Okay, all right, so keep that in mind. Then let's look at the minima. So minimum is probably right here, and then maximum will be right here. So this will be what? 1 to 2.5. And this point which will be something close to what? 5.5. Let's just keep it like that. All right, so your maxima is going to occur at when it occurs when x equals 5.5, around 5.5, and the local max, oh my goodness, sorry, the local max, it's going to be the y value, so it's going to occur at 5.5, and what is the corresponding y value there? Let me see, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so local max is going to be 8. So that's the answer. And I did ask you for what value of x, so x equals 5.5. Okay, now let's go with minima. Minima is going to occur when x equals 2.5. And then local min, that's going to be the y value at x equals to 2.5. So see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the local min is going to be 4. All right. Now find intervals on which the function is increasing and which function is decreasing. So of course, increasing and decreasing occurs at the local max and local min. So let's go with increasing. Now the function's increasing from where? X equals 2.5 and then x equals to 5.5. Now always, 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 for the intervals where the function's increasing or decreasing, it's always going to be open parentheses on both ends by definition. So increasing on parentheses 2.5, and then it's going to go to 5.5 open. Okay, and then let's go with the, sorry, I'm just going to box this. All right, decreasing. So it looks like it's going to decrease from negative infinity to 2.5. We're looking at the x values, by the way, when you're looking at where the function's increasing or decreasing. So you're going to have negative infinity to 2.5. That's decreasing, right? Open and, oops, that's and, sorry. And where? From 5.5 all the way up to, remember, you're looking for the x value. So yes, y value on the tail end over here is going to negative infinity, but x value is going to go to positive infinity. So here your answer is going to be open 5.5. Oh, wait a minute. Decreasing, right? Oh, yeah, I'm right. So decreasing on 5.5, comma, to positive infinity, because you're looking at an x value, not the y value. So let me just box that. Okay. Okay, number 10, the graph of f of x is given. So excuse me, I didn't write this down. So this graph right here is our f of x, by the way. Okay, now describe in words how the graph of g of x can be obtained from the graph of f of x. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do these problems in maybe 1, 2, 3 steps maybe. Okay, all right, so here's what I mean. So step number 1, let's just look at just only the portion f of 1/3 x. Okay, so that means that, okay, so let me just change the color. Output for g, this means that output for g of x is going to be equal to the output for f of x. But input for g is going to be 3 times the input for f. Just remember that. Okay, now let's go with maybe step 2. All right, step 2, let's just look at the negative f of 1/3 x. Okay, so what does that mean? If I multiply the top equation, the expression that the graph that I'm gonna get from circle 1, all I have to do is I need to reflect that about the x-axis. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is reflect. Oh, I'll change the color. Reflect this graph obtained of, this guy by the x-axis. So that means all you have to do is multiply the y values by -1. Okay, now step 3, let's add the +2 at the end. So you're going to have negative f of 1/3 x and then +2. Let's look at that. Now that this is our number 3 is going to be our g of x actually. So this is going to be our g of x is going to be circle 3. So what we need to do is what? Take the graph obtained from circle 2 and shift that graph by 2 units upward. So I'm going to say shift this graph that we obtained, which is from circle 2, upward by 2 units. Okay. So that means what? If I'm going to move this guy up to 2 units, all you have to do is add +2 to each of the y values obtained from circle 2. Okay. All right, so let me jot down 4 key points, because on the next part I need to sketch the graph of g of x and label 4 points, right? So let me just jot this point. This point is what, 0, 1. We could easily tell. And then this point right here is going to be 3, 3. And how about this one is what, 6, 2. And right here is going to be 7, y 0, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to play with those points now. So this is our x value, y value, x, y, and then x and a y. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go through step 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm going to do everything step by step by changing the coordinates of x or the y according to what we need to do. So let's first go with step 1. Okay, so before I do step 1, let me just jot down the points for given function f of x. So our f of x, so here you're gonna get what? Let me see, x and just f of x. That's the original points. Okay, so x is 0, y is 1, x is 3, y is 3, x is 6, y is 2, and then x is 7, and y is 0. Okay. All right, so keep that in mind. So that's the original one. Now, let's go with step 1. Okay, so our point's going to change a little bit. You know what? Let me just write this down horizontally so that maybe I have a room to graph. So let me see. So here's my x, and then here's our circle 1. And then circle 1 is what? F of 1/3 x, right? Okay, so let's take a look. So the output for g is going to be the same thing for the output for f. So output for f are what? 1, 3, 2, and a 0. Okay, but the input for g is going to be, so I should say input for the new function is going to be 3 times the input for f. So meaning what you need to do is when the original x is 0, you're going to have to go 0 times 3, which is going to be 0. And now next one is going to be what? When x is 3, x is going to be 3 times 3, which is going to be 9. When x is 6, you're going to have to go 6 times 3, which will be what? 18. And then next x value is 7, you're going to have to multiply that by 3, so it's going to be 7 times 3, which is going to be 21. Okay, now let's deal with the circle 2. Okay, so circle 2 is what? Reflect circle 1 by the x-axis. Okay, so let me just drop down x, and then here you're going to have negative f of 1/3 x. Oh my gosh. Why can I never draw a straight line? All right, so in this case, what's going to change? Multiply the y values by -1, which means that x value is going to stay the same as the previous step. So you're going to have 0, 9, 18, and 21. And then y values by -1, so you're going to have -1, -3, -2, and then 0. All right. Almost done. Now step 3 would be, so let me just go like this. Step 3 is our g of x. So let me just write it as x, and then g of x, negative f of 1/3 x, and then plus 2. So what you need to do is shift the graph obtained in circle 2 by 2 units upward. So that means that x value is not going to change, but you need to add 2 to each of the y values. So the x value is still going to be 0, 9, 18, and 21. All right, now let's add 2 to each y coordinate. So -1 plus 2 is 1. -3 plus 2 is what? -1. -2 plus 2 is 0. And then 0 plus 2 is 2. So what we need to do is we need to plot these points to obtain the graph of g of x. Okay, since I am not very good at drawing pictures and a number line as you've seen it before, let me just try to do the best I can here. It's gonna be drawn off the scale, I'm sorry. Okay, so let me first go with something like maybe over here. Look at that future. All right, and then let me just go, oh, sorry. I need to go, y value is gonna be what? 1, -1, oh. Okay, so let me just go like this. Oh my gosh, why did I just stop there? Go, keep going, keep going, keep going. There. All right, so now, okay, I can do this, I can do this. All right, so x is gonna have to go up to 21. So let me just say this is 10, this is 20, and this is maybe 21. Totally drawn off the scale, sorry. So let me go with, this is what, 5? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then maybe this is 15. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Oh my goodness, this is so off, but I hope you understand once I plot this. And what? The y value is going to be 1, and then -1, and then maybe goes up to 2. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a wacky looking graph. All right, but anyways, let me just plot those new points. Okay, so when x is 0, y is 1, so I guess that's this point right here. And then when x is 9, y is -1, so it's right here. Let's just label them. Please label them, I guess. So here you're gonna have 0, 1, and this is 9, -1, and then 18, 0, so 15, 16, 17, 18, 0. I'm going to say this is 18, 0, and 21, 2. Okay, so somehow I'm going to have to draw a graph that's going to be a reflection of f of x. So it looks like it's probably gonna go like this, huh? Oh my gosh, look at that graph. Oh my goodness. And then it's probably gonna go like this, straight, connect to here, and then connect to there. There, like that. Wow, look at that ugly graph. But I hope you get the point. Okay. All right, so for number 11, that's the graphing calculator portion of your exam. What I did was, since I could not project TI-83, the graphing calculator, onto this program, so what I did was I made a separate video for you all for this particular problem, showing you which buttons you need to hit, and then how to find the maxima and minima by using the calculator. So I will send you that separately, but let me just write down the answer here. Okay, I'm just going to draw the answer for now, and the rest of it, please watch the movie. So let me see. The graph is going to look like this. Okay, hold on. Gosh, I love this future. This future is so cool. You just can't erase it later, I guess. All right, so let's take a look at that. And your graph, okay, it's gonna be after you do this thing called zoom fit. Always go with zoom fit. Zoom fit. As you'll see it in the video, that's same key as zoom 0 on your calculator, zoom fit. Okay, so after you do the zoom fit, the graph that you should see is something like this. It's gonna be really tight looking, but it's gonna look something like Oh my gosh, my graphing skills. Something like that. Okay, just give me the rough sketch, you know. All right, and then I'm gonna ask you to, what is it? Select the window. So next thing after you do zoom fit, after you punch it in the function, what you need to do is go to window, and after you do the zoom fit, just write down all the x min, x max, and then y min and y max. Those are the only values that I'm looking for. So if we did it right, then here you're gonna have negative 10 and 10, and I got y min to be negative 5, 15, and then y max to be 265. And then on the video, I showed you how to find the local minimum and maximum. So let's just call this point the local minimum. Gosh, and let's call this point like maybe the local maximum or something like that. All right, so the local min should happen at negative 2.90, comma, negative 18.004. And then so this is going to be the min. And the max should happen around 1.07, and then negative 4.60. So that should be this point right here. I'm sorry, I'm not a very good graphing person at all, but you'll see it when you watch the video, I hope. Now let's go with part B. So what I'm looking for is just the graph and these guys right here. And I guess I asked you to find all local maximum and minimum, label them on the graph from part A. So that will be this point right here and this point right here. But on the calculator, I'll just write it as maxima is at 1.07, negative 4.60, minima, it's going to be negative 2.90, negative 18.04. Okay, all right, now find the intervals on which the function is increasing and decreasing. So again, please watch the video to see how I did that. So we should get negative 2.90 and 1.07, and then decreasing on negative infinity to negative 2.90, and then decreasing on 1.07 all the way up to infinity. Okay, all right, and then the domain is going to be, I explained it, negative infinity to infinity. Range is also going to be negative infinity to infinity. Again, please, for the details, please watch the video. Okay, so let's go with number 12. Determine algebraically whether the function f is even, odd, or neither. Explain. Okay, so in order for us to check, what you need to do is plug it in negative x in place of x. So please note that if f of negative x equals negative of the f of x, that means f is odd. And then f of negative x equals to f of x, then f is even. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to replace this x with negative x to see what's going to happen. So let's check. F of negative x is going to be negative x to the third plus 2 times negative x, which gives us what? Negative times the negative will give us negative. So it's going to be negative x to the third. And then here you're going to have minus 2x. Now notice that I can factor out the negative sign, and I can rewrite this guy as what? X to the third plus 2x. But look, isn't this nothing but our f of x? I think so. So what do we got? So this means that we have negative of f of x. So that means, therefore, 3 dots in triangle means therefore f is odd. So I'm just going to box that one, or you could just box it right here. Okay, so now let's go with the next one. Determine if the function is 1-to-1. Explain your answer. Okay, so first of all, please note that our f of x is a standard parabola shifted 25 units upward. So here's my rough sketch of the graph. So here's, oh my gosh, look at my straight line. It's so beautiful. No, I'm kidding. All right, so shift it up 25 units, and it's going to be a standard parabola. So this will be the rough sketch of our graph. So this is our f of x, let's just say. Okay, now notice that by the horizontal line testing, do you see that it's going to fail? Because if I hack this off, it's going to intersect the horizontal line at two places. So my explanation would be this. I would say this is not 1-to-1 because it fails the horizontal line test. Or you could just say that if you want to, or I'll just explain more. Because f of x is a parabola shifted 25 units upward. It fails the horizontal line test. Line test. Yeah, I say that's good enough. Why the heck not? That's good enough. All right, so the next one. Find the inverse of the function, find the domain and a range of f and f inverse. So here's the key picture. The key picture is this. So suppose, oh my gosh, that's supposed to be a circle, but whatever. All right, so suppose this is the domain, this is the range. Now f is going to go in this direction, and f inverse is of course going to go in this direction. So notice that the domain of f, that's right here, is same thing as the range of f inverse. Because f inverse is going to go from right to left. And also, let me see, the domain of f inverse, which is this guy right here, domain of f inverse is same thing as what? The range of f. Okay, so that's the key things that you need to memorize, or just draw the picture. Hopefully you can derive it. All right, now let's try to find the inverse. Step 1, replace your f of x with y. So here you're going to have y equals -3 over x plus 4. Next step, interchange the role of x and a y. So you're going to have x equals -3 over y plus 4. Okay, so let me just call it step 1, step 2, step 3. Now step 3, try to solve for y if possible. If you cannot solve for y, that means that there's no inverse for f. But I think in this case we can. So multiply both sides by y plus 4. Okay, so let me just write everything else. If I'm going to multiply here by y plus 4, I better be fair and multiply this side by y plus 4. Okay, then what I'm going to get is what? Parentheses y plus 4 times x equals -3. I'm trying to solve for y. So here you're going to have what? Yx plus 4x equals -3. So I'm trying to solve for this guy. So bring everybody else who doesn't have a y on it on the, in this case, right-hand side of the equation. So in this case, minus 4x. Then here you're going to get what? Yx equals -4x and then -3. Now what? To get the y, all you have to do is divide it by x and divide this whole thing by x. So this implies that y equals -4x minus 3 whole entire thing over x. Or, if you want to get fancy, you could just go -4x over x. X is going to cancel. And then minus 3 over x. They're both equivalent. But in any case, since we are able to solve for y as a function of x, this expression is going to be your f inverse. So I'm just gonna say, therefore, f inverse of x is going to be negative 4x minus 3 whole thing over x, or negative 4 minus 3 over x. I don't care which one you give me. All right. Now let's go with the domain of f of x. Okay, so let me change the color here. Let's look at the domain of f of x. Now notice that the bottom cannot be 0, so the restriction is what? X plus 4 cannot be 0. So that implies that x cannot be negative 4. That's the domain of f. All right, so, oh, and then let's just get this over with. Now let's look at the f inverse of x. Now let's check out the domain of f inverse. Okay, now what's the restriction? Well, the bottom cannot be 0, so that means what? Only restriction is that x cannot be 0. All right, so keep that in mind, and let's follow the picture that we drew earlier. So the domain of f of x is what? X cannot equal to negative 4, and you need to express that in an interval notation. So let me see. Let me just draw this line here again. And x cannot be negative 4. So pretend this is negative 4. So everywhere is defined but at x equal to negative 4. So this is what? Negative infinity to negative 4 union open negative 4 to positive infinity. So that's the domain of f of x. Let me copy and paste. Okay. Now the range, hold on. The domain of f is same thing as range of f inverse. Look at the picture. So these answers must be the same. So this means negative infinity to negative 4, union, negative 4, and then infinity. Okay, now let's go with the domain of f inverse. Domain of f inverse is what? X cannot be 0. So if I do that, oh my gosh, my line is so not straight. Oh well. All right, here's 0, and then what? X cannot be 0, but x can be any of the values but for 0. So in this case, what do we get? Negative infinity to 0, open, union, open 0 to positive infinity. So that's the domain of f inverse. Let me copy and paste. Oh my gosh, what kind of infinity is that? It's not an 8. I meant to write infinity, just like that. Okay, now again, domain of f inverse is same thing as the range of f of x. So all you gotta do is just copy and paste what you just wrote, and you are done with the problem. So I'm just gonna box it, box it, box, box. Easy peasy. You got this. All right, so now let's look at the find the linear equation in slope-intercept form. In case you forgot, I wrote down the formula for you. It's y equals mx plus b. Satisfying the conditions, if possible. Simplify your answer all the way. All right, so passing through those 2 points. Now first, the key ingredient to writing the equation of a line is a slope. And then also you need to know the point slope formula, because if you know the point slope formula, then you can easily derive the slope intercept form. So let me just write down the point slope. You might want to memorize this. Point slope form of the equation, the equation of a line goes like this. Y minus y0 equals m x minus x0. Now what the heck is that y0 and x0? Since you're given 2 ordered pairs, you know, x0 and y0, you can pick either ordered pair. That's why I don't put just x1, y1. Then you're probably going to think that you can only take the first ordered pair. Just pick the whatever that looks cute for you, you know, for the x0, y0. But anyways, let's first find the slope. Okay, so the slope is going to be what? X2 minus x1. Oh no, just kidding. kind of math am I teaching you all? All right, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Doesn't matter which one you want to call your y1 or y2, but let's just keep it in order. So I'm going to call this guy x1, y1, x2, y2. That's a 2. All right, so you got negative 6 minus, be careful here, it's minus 8. Whole thing over 3 minus, again, this is going to be minus 5. All right, so in that case, what are we going to get here? Here you're going to have what? Negative 6 plus 8, whole thing over 3 plus 5, which is what? 2 over 8, which is 1/4. So that's going to be the slope. Now plug this into the point slope form. Now, to me, 3 comma negative 6 looks way cuter than the first ordered pair. So that's the point that I'm going to pick. But you could pick the other one. Your final answer will be the same. So let me just write down the point slope form. Okay, now this y and this x, it remains. Okay, you don't plug any values in there. It stays as an x and a y. So y minus, I'm going to pick y2. So you're going to have negative 6. Equals m is 1/4, and then x minus 3. Now all you have to do is solve for y from here to get the slope-intercept form. So here you're going to have y plus 6 equals, I'm just going to distribute the 1/4 in. Oh, I forgot the x. Okay, so now what we're going to do is what? Oh, hold on. Did I do this wrong? Y minus y0. No, y0 is... No, this is right. Okay, so now let's solve for y. So subtract 6 from both sides. So then here you're going to have y equals 1/4 x minus 3 over 4 minus 6. 6 is the same thing as 6 over 1. So let's just look at it as a side work. Let's just do the constants together. You got negative 3 over 4 minus 6 over 1. So this is what? Negative 3 over 4 minus 4 times 6 is what? 24. So this is going to be what? Negative 27 over 4. So let me just write it over here. So therefore, y equals 1/4 x and then minus 27 over 4. I think that's right. If it's wrong, please tell me. I'm kind of burnt out right now. I'm sure you are too. Hang in there. One more. We can do this. We got this. Ready? Write an equation for the line in slope-intercept form perpendicular to h of t. Now, perpendicular line better have the negative reciprocal slope of the given line. So let me just write down, this is our original slope, which is 4. That means that slope that is perpendicular to the slope 4 is going to be negative reciprocal. It's going to be negative reciprocal of 4 is 1 over 4. So the new slope is going to be negative 1/4. And all you have to do is write yourself the point slope form using that, then solve for the y to get the slope intercept form. So let's do this. So here you're going to have y minus y0 equals m x. So it's going to be m perpendicular x minus x0. So here you're going to have y minus 1 equals negative 1 over 4. And then x minus x0, negative 9. I hope I did this right. Okay, so then what? This is going to be y minus 1 equals negative 1/4 x. Sorry, I should do this step by step. Sorry, plus 9. So y minus 1 equals negative 1/4 x and then minus 9 over 4. Okay, so now what? Add 1 to both sides. Then here you're going to have y equals negative 1/4 x minus 9 over 4 and then plus 1. So 1 would be like 4 over 4, same thing. So y equals negative 1/4 x and then minus 5 over 4. and that should be the perpendicular line to our h of t. Oops, the variable was in terms of t, so maybe I should have wrote in terms of t, but oh well, I'll take this for an answer. Here you go. Word problem time. It says in Dr. Knox's second semester calculus, Armando has scores of 65, 89, 73 on the first 3 exams. Assuming that 100 is the maximum number of points in each test, what must the range of scores to be on the 4th exam so that the average of the 4 tests is greater than or equal to 80? Write your answer in interval notation. All right, so let me just first underline what's important. So we have the scores of all 3 exams. And then, let me see, what we want is the average of the 4 tests to be greater or equal to 80. All right, so here's what I'm going to start out with. I'm going to let X be the score on the 4th exam. Now, we want the average of 4 exams to be greater than or equal to 80. So that means that I'm going to have 65 plus 89 plus 73. So that's the first, second, third exam. And then here's my 4th exam. Now, if I'm going to take the average of those 4, I need to divide that by 4. All right. Now, what we want is this average of 4 tests is greater than or equal to 80. So all we have to do now is just to solve for x. Okay, so let's do it. So if I add 65 plus 89 plus 73, that's 227 plus x all over 4 is greater or equal to 80. Now what I'm going to do is multiply the left and right hand side by 4 because that's the least common denominator. So then what do we get? Now notice that these two 4's going to cancel each other out. So we get 227 plus x is greater or equal to 320. Next, remember, we're solving for x, so I would subtract 227 from both sides. All right, so then what do we get? We're going to have x better be greater or equal to, what is that, 93? Uh-oh, Armando better work his butt off for the 4th exam, huh? Anyways, let me box that. Okay, so we're done. In order for Armando to receive a score of 80 or above, on average, he must score 93 or above on the 4th exam. Now, since the question asks you to write the answer in the interval notation, what we're going to do is we're going to translate this in an interval of 93, comma, and then remember, the biggest number that you can get is 100. So I'm going to write that as 100 included. And here we have it. This is going to be our final answer. Alrighty, so we are done going over the practice exams together. I hope this helped a little bit. And please let me know if I made a mistake somewhere. I'm a human and I make mistakes all the time. But anyways, go kick some butt on your first exam and let me know if you have any questions at all. Great job, everyone, and you got this.